Coming up in the Bahamas tonight, a major financial action task force of the Caribbean meeting takes place here in the capital.
Setting the record straight, the Prime Minister again addresses his position on Ishmael Lightbourn's home.
A man loses his life after being struck by a vehicle. We've got the details coming up.
Now in HD. ZNS Network presents The Bahamas Tonight. This portion of the news brought to you by BTC Every Day.
The first Caribbean Financial Action Task Force conference ended today with some words of advice from the nation's CEO. Good evening, I'm Andrew Knowles.
I'm Kish Latterly. Thanks so much for joining us. The Financial Action Task Force is significant to the sustainability of the international financial services sector and serves as an important contributor to the revenue base of Caribbean economies and the long-term peace, security, and economic prosperity of the Caribbean as a whole.
And this morning, Prime Minister the Right Honourable Perry Christie informed the regional and international leaders on the significance of being prepared to comply with international standards in order to grow the financial services sector. Clint Watson has the story.
Their work as watchdogs for the financial services sector are not only critical to the survival and growth of the industry in the region, but also serves to safeguard sound and potentially blossoming economies like the Bahamas, now as the region prepares to meet the fourth round of assessments from the Financial Action Task Force. President Vladimir Neshayev forewarns it won't come easy.
My message today is one of more work and more resources. However, I hope that you understand that the additional tasks and requirements aim to improve our common output, to enhance the usefulness of our assessments, also for technical assistance purposes, and ultimately to better fight illicit finance crimes and to protect the integrity of our financial systems.
Attorney General and Chairman of the Caribbean Financial Action Task Force, Senator the Honorable Alison Maynard Gibson, telling her regional counterparts and others that together as one Caribbean, the challenging goal of compliance and enforcement can be achieved.
The region is counting on us to choose the right path at this juncture in its history. I pray that our deliberations, as well as strengthening our economies, may inure to the benefit of future generations.
Prime Minister the Right Honourable Perry Christie says a well-regulated sector results in a successful investment regime.
This is where the strength of the region will lie as we engage with our regional global partners. The Commonwealth of the Bahamas fully endorses the call by the Honourable Attorney General in her capacity as chair of the CFATF for every member to emerge at least 75% compliant from the fourth round of mutual evaluation.
The Prime Minister suggested 4 new initiatives to help achieve this goal, including his willingness to champion the work among his CARICOM colleagues to ensure more human and financial resources are available. $30,000 will be donated by the Bahamas to ensure we are prepared.
And I shall ask, therefore, the University of the Bahamas to position the Franklin Wilson School of Business as the leading school in the region for degrees and courses in all aspects of financial services, including operations, governance, AML, CFT, and other compliance matters. I have also asked the Minister of Education to examine ways in which financial services can be integrated into elementary education curricula at the very earliest opportunity.
Prime Minister Christie says intellectual capital is paramount for the region to advance financial services. He also stresses that this particular meeting, the first of its kind, will be a key vital link in advancing the cause of the region. Clint Watson, ZNS Network News.
A man attempting to cross the Tonic-Williams-Darling Highway is dead tonight after he was struck by a gray Toyota vehicle. Our Janaea Noel Ferguson was on the scene shortly after the accident. We have this report tonight.
Westbound traffic was backed up for miles Thursday as police conducted investigations on the eastbound lane of the major thoroughfare that left a male pedestrian dead. When our ZNS News arrived on scene just opposite the recreational park behind the A.F. Adderley School, the victim's body lay face down on the road. The windshield of the car that struck him shattered. All eastbound traffic had to be rerouted, compounding the early morning traffic. Officer in charge of the Road Traffic Division, Assistant Superintendent Craig Stubbs, informed media that they were alerted of the incident around 6:30 a.m.
On arrival, the officers met a adult male, lying in the eastbound lane of Tonic Darling Highway, and a vehicle also that was traveling eastbound. The EMS arrived on scene. They attended to the adult male and they pronounced him dead on scene. At the particular time, we understand that pedestrian was crossing the thoroughfare and the Toyota vehicle was traveling eastbound on Tonic Darling Highway.
The male driver that struck the deceased sat on the sidelines, visibly distraught. Stubbs indicated that the driver will be assisting police with their investigations.
The driver is a bit shaking as a result of the accident. He's going to be on line to seek medical attention, and we'll interview him as related to the occurrence of the event.
It is believed the victim, who was wearing blue jeans and a white sports jersey shirt, may have been a resident of the Yellow Elder community. He was said to be walking from that direction early this morning. Meanwhile, police are urging pedestrians and other road users to exercise caution, especially in school zones.
The thoroughfare is equipped with a pedestrian crossing. We urge the pedestrians going to move about on the Tonic Darling Highway. There are signs posted. There are pedestrian crossing markings on the thoroughfare for your usage. We ask them to use those pedestrian crossings to prevent such accidents like this.
Investigations into this matter continue. Janae Noel Ferguson, ZNS Network News.
Efforts to review the Road Traffic Act now underway as the Ministry of Transport introduces a Canadian-based consultant to assist with the revision over the next 6 months. Today, dozens of transportation stakeholders attended a one-day workshop to give their feedback on ways to enhance the act that has not been revised in 56 years. Last year alone, some 51 deaths were recorded on our streets, and just this morning, a pedestrian was struck and killed while crossing the street on the Tonic-Williams-Darling Highway. Consultant Neville Weeks strongly believes improvements to the act will not only reduce injuries on our streets, but save many lives.
Everybody's a road user of some degree. You either walk, you ride, your bicycle, your motorbike, your car, your truck, you go in a minibus or a taxi, whatever. You all are affected by what happens on the road. So I need to understand what the issues are that you're facing. I can see some, but I need to hear it from the people that deal with it every day. So we're going to have a whole range of these consultations with the stakeholders. We're not going to forget the Family Islands. We were speaking this morning with Mr. Smith in his office. We're going to have a planned program to the Family Islands. Not just me always, but we're going to have Bahamians go out to get information from the people living on those islands.
An alleged tweet by a local student of a private school may have landed her in trouble with the law. ZNS News understands that the 17-year-old student was taken out of her BGCSE English exam this morning and questioned by U.S. authorities. It's alleged that the teenager made this tweet last night at 8:55 p.m. Quote, "I'm responsible for the deaths and injuries which occurred at Fort Hood." She hashtagged Fort Hood and Fort Hood shooting. Kill them all. American media reported 4 people were killed and 16 injured at the Fort Hood military base in Texas yesterday. The shooter was identified as 34-year-old Ivan Lopez, who died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound and was said to have been suffering mental problems. It's alleged that the text sent by the Bahamian teen sparked criticism from those on the global social networking site Twitter, who lashed out for the tweet. It's alleged it's unclear if the teen is being held in custody or if any charges will be filed. Attempts to reach school officials were unsuccessful, but we understand from police sources it may have all just been part of a joke. But the law may be having the last laugh. This is a developing story. We'll bring you the latest as it becomes available. Meantime, the saga between the government consultant on value-added tax, Ishmael Lightbourn, and his bank may have come to an end. Our Janae Noel has details.
It appears as if that phone call from Prime Minister Perry Christie on behalf of VAT coordinator Ishmael Lightbourn wasn't enough to keep him in his home. On Wednesday, bank officials moved in to secure the residence. A locksmith was on site changing locks on the doors. Family members and friends stopped by to oversee the process. Lightbourn can be seen here in the plaid shirt loading a suitcase into his car, while other persons were spotted carrying away items in plastic bags. It's an end to a saga that started after it was revealed that Lightbourn was behind in property taxes. His role in the government's proposed value-added tax initiative drew sharp criticism from opposition voices, with many claiming that Mr. Christie abused his power as Prime Minister. However, that claim was dismissed by a number of PLP parliamentarians, including Deputy Prime Minister Philip Davis, who noted that although Mr. Christie made the call, it was still up to the bank to make the final decision. That decision, it seems, was to go ahead with the foreclosure anyway, rendering the claims of abuse of power a moot point.
Now, Lightbourn joins dozens of other homeowners who've had their home foreclosed on because of financial troubles. Janae Noel Ferguson, ZNS Network News.
Well, Prime Minister Perry Christie has come under criticism for his intervention, but today he set the record straight as he addressed the matter with reporters. We get that story tonight from Clint Watson.
There is no one, right, who will ever get me to stop doing what I have done for 40 years.
Prime Minister the Right Honorable Perry Christie telling reporters today that he's not about to let the media, or anyone for that matter, change his nature of reaching out to help those who need it.
I have for 40 years been making interventions with bank managers and bank leaders, some of whom are headquartered in Toronto. We have a wonderful relationship. It has never been adversarial. It has never been coercive.
In fact, Prime Minister Christie revealing that his intervention on behalf of Ishmael Lightbourn has not been an isolated case.
Since Ishmael Lightbourn, I have intervened on behalf of young Bahamians and old Bahamians in different islands. They amount to the hundreds. And please tell them, yes, anyone who they want to refer to me, I am willing, if I can't do it all myself, to have people meet them, because it is an incredibly important challenge in this country, and we are going to bring legislation for this.
Mr. Christie further made reference to scores of young business professionals throughout the country who needed intervention at his level, noting that many financial institutions are either incapable or unwilling to change their requirements.
You can't get banks to change mortgage rates. You can't get them to do anything, and the bank knows that. They respect interventions of that kind, and from the leadership in Toronto to here, they understand it. So it is just, I just want to be able to tell you those things. They are important to know in this country. It is not politics. It is not because of friends. Mr. Lightbourn and I have no social relationship. None. I have not spoken to Mr. Lightbourn since I made the intervention.
The Prime Minister says his intervention for Lightbourn came about as a result of his respect for him as a Christian person.
A very educated person in this country who's made a big mistake in his life. All of us do. I made one when I was put out of school, and there was a man who called Donald Davis who reached down and said, this boy is smarter than that. And forever, for the rest of my life, I will never compromise on my efforts to help people. Nobody will ever get me to apologize for it, and nobody will ever get me to deviate from being able to help people. I never do it in a coercive manner. I do it on the basis of the outcome being in the best interest of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas and any institution I'm dealing with.
And with that said, Prime Minister Christie hopes he's put this issue to rest. He says his business is about providing jobs and opportunities and building a better Bahamas for Bahamians. Clint Watson, ZNS Network News.
Well, if you're a fan of the long-running talk show Immediate Response, tomorrow will be the last day to hear that show. The 2-hour talk show that started more than 2 decades ago and has been hosted by a who's who of Bahamian talk radio, from Anthony Delaney, Daryl Miller, Chrissy Love, and Fane Thompson, comes to an end on Friday. Talk fans won't have to worry about what will replace it, however. Starting on Monday, top talk show host Daryl Miller returns to his roots when his daily talker, Daryl Miller Live, makes its debut on ZNS Radio Radio. The show kicks off on Monday and will run Mondays through Fridays from 10:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. Miller attempted to say his goodbyes this morning on Guardian Radio, but was unceremoniously cut off. We'll have more from the man himself tomorrow.
Well, still ahead tonight, a businessman appears in court today on gun charges. We have the story coming up.
And Vauxhall residents prepare for a massive weekend cleanup. You're watching The Bahamas Tonight.
This segment of the news is brought to you by Shell Quality Fuels.